The galaxy had seen speed, it had seen strength, but now it was about to see something far more dangerous: control. Reese Carter had beaten 2 champions without rage, without armor, without even truly fighting, and still no one could explain how. The Galactic Council tried to spin the story. The test continues. He was lucky. The real challenge is next. But on the outer planets, fear was spreading. Children drew pictures of the silent human. Warriors watched his footage over and over. And on the prison ship orbiting the arena moon, a single word kept echoing through the dark halls: Reese. The third opponent, Brutal Force High Overseer Valor, wanted a message of his own. So he sent Dornoch, a beast from the black oceans of Tyreek Prime, 8 feet tall, skin like stone, breath like poison, known across 3 systems as the Breaker of Bones. His record: 72 wins, 68 deaths, 0 survivors. The crowd cheered when they saw him step onto the arena floor. This was what they had come for: blood, bone, brutality, and they thought, finally the human would break. Reese walks in a fanfare. No lights, no music. Reese walked in like before, calm, quiet, no expression on his face. He stood at the center of the arena. The ground beneath him was cracked from Dornoch's earlier battles. But Reese didn't look at the ground. He looked at the beast, straight into his eyes. Dornoch snarled. "You think silence scares me, human?" Reese said nothing. "Good. Then I'll enjoy hearing you scream." Still no answer. Reese just raised his hand and made a small motion: Come the first hit the horn sounded. Dornoch didn't wait. He charged forward like a thunderstorm, both arms raised. His roar shook the air, and this time, Reese didn't move. He stayed still, and the punch landed. Hard. A sickening crack echoed across the arena. Reese flew backward, landing on the ground with a heavy thud. Blood ran down from his mouth, sharp. Cut opened across his cheek. The crowd gasped. Had the human finally made a mistake? Dornoch laughed loudly. "You stood still. Are you broken already?" Reese slowly got up. He wiped the blood from his lip, and then he smiled. The message. Behind the scar, he looked at Dornoch, not in anger, not in pain, but in pity. "Thank you," Reese said quietly. Dornoch froze. "What now?" "Can answer." Reese moved forward, but not fast. No dramatic charge, no scream, just a walk. His steps were quiet, but each step made Dornoch move backward. Reese didn't swing. He didn't raise a fist. Instead, he walked until they were chest to chest. Then, whispered one scar, one message. And then he struck once. A single, open-handed blow to Dornoch's chest. The beast flew backward like he had been hit by a cannon. He hit the arena wall, cracked it, fell to his knees. Couldn't breathe. The crowd screamed, not in celebration, in fear. What just happened? Dornoch was still conscious, but his eyes were wide. His chest wasn't bleeding, but something inside was broken. Reese approached again, slowly. This time Dornoch crawled away. Reese knelt beside him. "I let you hit me," he said calmly. Dornoch tried to speak. "Why?" "Because the galaxy needs to understand," Reese continued. Pointed to his own scar, blood still on his cheek. That's your strength." Then he pointed to Dornoch, shaking, broken, gasping. That's ours." He stood up and turned to the cameras. "You can hurt us, yes, but you won't like what comes after." Reaction across the galaxy, across thousands of systems. The footage spread instantly. News channels translated Reese's words into every major language. One scar, one message. People debated. He let himself get hit to teach a lesson. He's not just fighting, he's building something. This human, isn't showing power. Why? He's showing consequences. On a planet near the galactic edge, a military commander paused the footage, then told his team, "Cancel our test run. We're not going near Earth." Earth's still silent back on Earth. The United Council still gave no press release, no broadcast, no celebration. They only updated one private transmission. Test 3 complete. Message delivered. The file was titled Protocol Ember, Stage 3. The Overseer's Fury in the Tower. High Overseer. Valor threw a chair across the room. He bled. We had him. His advisors stayed quiet. He turned to them. Good. He smiled. The silver-feathered one spoke again, because that's the part he wanted us to see. He planned the hit? Yes, and made it look like our victory. But he turned it into a message. A message to who? Everyone. Back in the locker room, Reese sat on the bench. A medic tried to patch his cut, but he waved her away. The young alien servant returned again as wide. You got hurt? Yes, Reese replied. But you let it happen? Reese nodded. Then you beat him with one hit. Reese stayed silent. The servant shook his head in disbelief. I don't understand. Why play this slow game? Reese finally answered. Because speed wins fights, but patience wins wars. He leaned back, looking at the cracked ceiling. And this is not just a fight. The prisoner knows Moran. The orbiting prison ship, the scarred alien prisoner, locked in chains, began to laugh. The guards watched nervously. I showed them, the prisoner said. Just like on D-13, he let them hit him, just like he did to the Varn. Prisoner stared at the wall. You don't understand. He's not warning them. It's warning all of us. One word sends panic, the Galactic Arena's AI. Scanner system flagged a single word from Reese's message as critical threat potential. The word was, after. You can hurt us, yes. But you won't like what comes after. The system flagged Earth as red-level strategic risk. Across the Council's war board, plans were paused. Meetings canceled, because suddenly. The question wasn't what Reese could do. It was what's coming after Reese. For 3 days, the galaxy had one question. Why didn't the human finish the fight? He let a beast hit him. He walked through pain like it was nothing. Then he struck once and broke a legend. He didn't show off. He didn't roar. He simply bled. Then warned, people stopped laughing. Now they listened. And High Overseer Valor. He stopped trying to humiliate Reese. Now, he wanted to erase him. The Council's secret weapon deep beneath the arena moon. Behind 10 layers of blast doors slept a monster not of flesh, but of metal. Designation, Unito 7 Apex-class warbot. This machine had ended wars in seconds. It didn't feel, it didn't fear. It was made for one thing, kill. The Council had kept it hidden for a century. Built during the machine conflicts, it was banned from combat. Too efficient. Too deadly. Too unstoppable. Now, they were desperate enough to release it. The warning before the match, Reese stood in his locker room, calm as always. The young alien servant entered again, holding a tablet with shaking hands. They're sending a war machine. Reese looked up, said nothing. The servant continued. Not just any machine. This one killed fleets. Cities. It's not even alive. Reese blinked slowly. And it can't be afraid, he said softly. The servant's voice cracked. But what if it can learn to be? The arena changes for the first time. The arena was cleared of all observers. No crowd, no fans, no leaders, only cameras. The fight was considered too dangerous. It was now a closed event. Only one seat in the command. Tower was occupied. High Overseer Valor. He leaned forward with a thin smile. No emotion, no fear, no hesitation. Let's see the human win this. Reese meets the machine, the arena gates. Opened, Unito 7 entered. Its body was made of black metal and glowing red joints. Its arms ended in shifting weapons. Its head scanned in every direction. Locking on threats within nanoseconds, the voice from the machine echoed through the arena. Target, human. Identity, Reese Carter. Purpose, elimination. Reese stepped forward. No armor, no weapons, no helmet. Just eyes. Eyes that didn't blink. Go ahead, he said, scan me. The machine did. Lines of data moved faster than thought. It checked his muscles, heart rate, breathing, posture, injuries, everything. Then something strange happened. The machine paused. Its red eyes dimmed. Its voice changed. Analyzing. Anomaly detected. The machine refuses suddenly. Unito 7 stepped back. Weapons retracted. Targeting systems shut down. It looked at Reese again, then turned toward the exit. The arena voice boomed. Unito 7, engage. This is a direct order. No response. Engage.
Still.
Nothing. Then Unito 7 said one word. Denied. Panic. In the tower overseer, Baylor stood up so fast his chair fell. What do you mean denied? It's a machine. It doesn't say no. The silver-feathered advisor stepped closer, eyes wide. It's scared. Impossible. Not fear like us. Logic-based fear. Risk analysis. It saw something in him. Baylor slammed his fist down. Shut it down. Erase it now. But Unito 7 had already powered off by choice. Reese speaks. The camera zoomed in on Reese. He looked into them. This time, wasn't smiling. He spoke clearly, softly even. A machine can understand danger when it sees it. He walked away without another word. The empty arena echoed with silence. Not the silence of peace. The silence before a storm. Reactions across the stars on every screen. In every system, people watched the footage in disbelief. The bot refused. That thing killed thousands in war. Why would it retreat? One old general from the ice colonies whispered, because that human doesn't just win fights. He changes the battlefield itself. Earth's only message is always. Earth remained silent. No threats. No victory speeches. Only a message on secure channels. Test for complete. Enemy systems recognize priority threat level. Attached was a single file labeled phase shift initiated. Meanwhile, in the dark back on the prison ship, the scarred prisoner now sat in a clean cell. A private one. He had been moved. Why? Because he said something that scared even the guards. Unito 7 shut down. Then they activated it. He is really here. He looked at the wall, breathing slowly. They're still in phase 1. They haven't even seen what's under his skin. In the locker room, the young alien servant entered once more. His voice was no longer shaking. It was quiet, respectful. The machine ran from you. Reese said nothing. What did it see? Reese finally looked at him. It saw the same thing I see every day in the mirror. The servant hesitated. And what's that? Reese whispered. The end of this game. The council grows silent in the council chambers. Arguments raged. Some demanded to stop the tests. Others wanted to strike Earth first. But the oldest among them spoke calmly. You gave him your test of strength. He is giving you something else in return. They all turned to him. What is he giving us? A choice. The arena was silent now. No blood, no crowd, no winner, only fear, but far away from the lights. Cameras in council halls deep inside an old prison station, a voice began to speak. A voice that hadn't been heard in 47 years. A voice that remembered. Reese Carter before the galaxy even knew his name. The awakening cell. 9X had been locked for decades. It was deeper than the lower decks. Hidden, forgotten guards were told to never speak to the prisoner inside. Some said he was mad. Others said he was cursed. They only knew 2 facts. He arrived before the Great Peace. He asked to be locked away. But now, he was awake. Footsteps in the dark, the prison warden walked down the narrow hallway. Behind him, 2 elite guards carried stun rifles set to kill. Why now? One asked. Because he asked for a visitor, the warden replied. Who? Asked the other. Said he wants to speak about the human. The guards went silent. Inside the cell, the door hissed open. Inside sat a tall, thin alien with glowing silver eyes, skin pale and cracked. His long fingers tapped a slow rhythm on the metal table. He smiled when he saw them. Ah, he said softly. The machine refused to fight him, didn't it? The warden blinked. How did you know? 'Cause I warned them 47 years ago. Avena squints the first meeting. The prisoner leaned forward. I met him once, a long time ago, on a planet that doesn't exist anymore. The warden stiffened, That's not possible. Reese is only 29 years old. The prisoner chuckled. So was I once. He hasn't aged since the day I saw him. Not one wrinkle. Not one breath slower. He is not just a man. The story begins. The prisoner stared into the wall, lost in memory. It was during the last war. My squad had just wiped out an Earth colony. We thought it was over. But then he came. Alone. No armor, no ship. Just walking toward us. One of our walkers fired a rail cannon at him. He didn't move. We never saw the shell hit. It simply stopped in the air. The guards looked at each other, stopped, midair. As if time gave him respect, not a weapon. Message. The prisoner's voice softened. He didn't kill us. Not all of us. He made us remember the way he looked at me. I saw everything. My victories, my crimes, my fears. He broke something inside me without touching me. That's why I asked for a cell. Because I couldn't go back. I couldn't unsee it. The real reason for the test, the warden finally asked. What is he doing now? Why is he in these tests? The prisoner's smile faded. He's not here to pass your test of strength. He's here to see what kind of weapons the galaxy still hides. He's taking notes. Notes for what? The prisoner whispered. For what comes after. The council watches back on the arena moon. High Overseer Valar replayed the footage of the war machine. Again and again. Every time, same moment froze his blood. The second unit of 7 scanned Reese and stopped moving. The advisor entered quietly. One of our prison stations reported a disturbance. Someone in cell 9X spoke. About the human Valor, stood quickly. That cell still exists? It was never decommissioned, sir. The prisoner claims he's met Reese before. Earth's file, open to late deep inside the Council's top-secret data vault. They had kept a file locked for over 60 years. RHO, human anomaly. No one had dared open it until now inside. Were photos, audio clips, fragments of stories, each one the same. A man, face, a name. Always Reese Carter. From different wars, different centuries, same age, same eyes. This is impossible, whispered Valor. The last words of the prisoner now calm, looked into the camera in his cell. If you still think this is a test, if you think Earth sent him to compete, then you're not listening. He leaned closer. You wanted strength. He's giving you a warning. He tapped the table once. You have one chance left. The galaxy watched Reese Carter in fear. But Earth was silent. No news, no media. No answers. And only one person on Earth was allowed to speak his name. Her name was Director Alara Voss. And she had just received the message she had been waiting. 30 years for the room without windows far below Earth's surface. Inside an underground command facility named Black Echo, a red light flashed. The guards stood still, trained to never ask questions. Behind sealed doors, Ilara Voss sat alone. At her desk, in front of her, were 6 screens. One showed Reese walking through the empty arena. Another showed the war machine, frozen. A third showed the face of the prisoner from cell 9X. Ilara leaned forward, her voice cold and clear. So, it started. She sent him years ago, when the Galactic Council first proposed the test of strength. Earth was invited. Most nations declined, but Ilara didn't. She gave one simple order: send only Reese. No backup, no explanation, no one in her staff. Argued because none of them even knew who Reese Carter really was. Except her. The general arrives, a door opened behind her. General Hart entered. One of the most decorated military leaders on Earth. You finally opened the RH0 file, he said. I had no choice, Ilara replied. They're about to make the same mistake we warned them about. The general looked uneasy. Think he'll finish the test? He won't need to, she said. They'll stop it themselves. Or vanish trying. The forbidden report. Ilara tapped a button. A document appeared on screen. Operation Silence, RHO. It showed missions. Tout details. War zones. with no survivors. Oh, and always one survivor. Reese Carter. His age never changed. His records were wiped every 10 years. His existence denied. We don't control him, Alara whispered. We observe. That's all. A voice from the past. The screen flickered. An old recording played. A man's voice, trembling, could be heard. He was there? On Karos 4, the entire planet burned, except for the spot where he stood. Another voice joined in. He didn't speak. He didn't blink. The enemy surrendered without a word. Alara paused the recording. Now the galaxy wants to test him. She looked up at the general. What happens when you test a weapon you don't understand? He didn't answer. The whisper protocol in the darkest part of Black Echo. There were 5 keys locked behind DNA and retina scanners. Only one person had access. Alara placed her hand on the scanner. It scanned, beeped, and unlocked a hidden drawer. Inside were 3 old photographs. Reese Carter in different wars, each photo a century apart. Same face, same stare, same silence. She placed them gently on the desk. Time doesn't touch him, she said. Memory does. The council's call suddenly. One of the screens lit up. It was a direct transmission from the Galactic Council. High Overseer Valor appeared. Earth Command, this is urgent. Ow. We require your immediate cooperation. In what matter? Elar asked.
Reese Carter, who what? Is he?
Alara didn't blink. You invited us to your test. You said no rules. You didn't ask what kind of strength we'd send. A quiet 3-feller tried again. Director Voss, this is not a joke. He has frozen our AI, broken our champions. Our oldest prisoner warned us about him. Alara leaned closer, her voice low, firm. We tried to warn you 50 years ago. We asked the galaxy to leave us alone. You didn't listen. You've met the silence we built. Baylor's face turned pale, the signal cut. In the vast history of the galaxy, there is one missing chapter. A whole species erased. No graves, no ruins, no memories. Only a single name remains in one forbidden file, the Cordal. And beside that name, written in Earth's deepest archives. They didn't fall in battle. They vanished after meeting him. The hidden message inside an old satellite drifting near a dying star. A message blinked in a dead language. A scout ship from the Maron Union detected it. The crew translated it line by line, until one phrase froze them all. We welcomed him. We tested him. We thought he was alone. He brought silence. The transmission ended with a single burned-in symbol, the Earth insignia, the Cordal Empire thousands of years ago. The Cordal were feared. They were conquerors, their warships able to erase moons. They didn't believe in peace. They believed in tests. Every species had to prove their strength or be destroyed. When they found Earth, they laughed, primitive, isolated. But they made one mistake. They captured a human. The prisoner, the records say. The Cordal took only one. He didn't resist. He didn't speak. He just stared at their war leader as they chained him. They brought him to their war arenage, just like the Galactic Council would do centuries later. But unlike now, there were no rules. Cordell opened the gates, released monsters, weapons, machines. They expected screams. They got silence. And in the end, only the human walked out. The fallen one night, the Cordal tried to retaliate. They launched ships, activated suns as weapons, sent death clouds across the stars. But they never made contact again. The day after the test, all their colonies went. Silent, no lights, no signals. All gone, like they were deleted. Why the galaxy forgot the Galactic Council erased every file about the Cordell, not to protect others, but to protect the truth, because one survivor from the Marin species who had witnessed the Cordal's fall said this: "We watched their homeworld blink out like a dying star, and in its place stood him alone, covered in ash." Back to the present now, as Reese Carter stands in the Council's test. Ancient species are starting to whisper again. Elders long retired, warlords in exile, and archivists with forbidden knowledge. They all recognize his face, They've seen it before. He was there when the Cordell disappeared, one says in terror, and now he walks again. One ship enters orbit above the planet where Reese is being tested, a hidden ship. Watches from behind a black moon inside. An old alien warrior, his skin scarred and eyes blinded from a past war, repeats the same word, Reese, the ghost of strength. The warning the galaxy forgot. And with trembling hands, he sends a final message to all major species. Stop the test, for history repeats itself. In the heart of the Galactic Council prison, deep underground, behind 7 energy doors, a single prisoner sat in the dark. His file said he never spoke, never moved, just stared, until Reese Carter arrived. Then he whispered for the first time in 20 years. He's alive. My brother's alive. The guards don't understand. 2 guards stood outside cell 9X. One was new. Who's in there? The young one asked. The other looked nervous. No one talks about him. He was here before I was born. But wise. He locked up? Because he's not supposed to exist? Before the younger guard could ask more, the prisoner stood and smiled. That's when all the lights flickered. Reese feels it far above the prison. Inside the arena where the test continues, Reese pauses. His hands begin to tremble. He doesn't know. Why? A whisper crawls through his mind, not in his own voice. Not from any enemy, a voice that says, "You left me behind, brother." A hidden past when Reese was 12. He was in a ship crash. Everyone thought he was the only survivor, but that wasn't true. There was one more, another child. His twin. The council found him first. They erased his name, removed him from records, and locked him away, because he wasn't like Reese. He was stronger. The test shakes as Reese faces his next challenge in the arena. The ground shakes. The crowd panics. Sirens wail. Council leaders look confused. A warning appears on every screen. Prisoner 9X has escaped. He's heading for the surface. Do not engage. He walks without chains. Escaped prisoner walks through metal walls like they're paper. Security bots shoot. He doesn't flinch. He speaks only once. As he rises toward the testing arena, I came to see what kind of man you became, brother. I came to see if you're ready for what's coming. Reese sees the face. Reese stands in the middle of the test zone, surrounded by alien weapons. Suddenly, everything stops. A door opens on the far end, and the man who enters looks exactly like him, except his eyes are older, darker. You don't. Remember me, he says. Die. But I remember everything they did to us. Reese whispers, Who are you? The man replies, The part of you they were too afraid to let grow. Your shadow, your twin. The signal came at midnight. A scream, a shadow, and silence. The transmission was short, only 11 seconds long. It came from Vega Colony 7, peaceful human outpost on the edge of the galaxy. The message began with normal chatter from the station crew. A woman laughing, a man talking about dinner. Then came a sound, sharp, electric, like something cutting through metal and bone. Screams followed. Not just fear, pure panic. Then nothing. Dead silence. The signal went dark in the control room of the Galactic Council station. Thousands of light years away, representatives from 50 alien species watched the playback. Some looked nervous. Some confused. Most of them laughed. A tall creature with 6 eyes, known as Sharon, the high strategist, scoffed. Earthlings are always dramatic. Maybe their own machines turned on them. Another Zivarak of the Keln Hive buzzed in agreement. Well, maybe. They're just weak, always pretending to be strong, always talking about peace. A hologram of Earth's representative, an old man named Ambassador Ron, flickered on the screen. He didn't look angry. He didn't shout. He just said 4 words. We heard the scream. Then the hologram faded. No threats, no anger, no war declarations. Just calm. To calm. Weeks passed, but the galaxy moved on. The Council launched a fake investigation into Vega 7. They blamed it on pirates, or local rebels, or a malfunction. Anything except the truth. What truth? That someone or something had attacked a peaceful human colony and gotten away with it, they believed Earth would do nothing. After all, humans were known for peace talks, for patience, for slow decisions and endless negotiations. Other species saw this as weakness. They didn't know it was something else. They didn't understand that Earth was waiting. 3 weeks later, a cargo ship drifted into the orbit of Charon's homeworld. It was old, rusted, barely held together, human ship from decades ago. The crew was gone. No heat signatures. No power. Just one strange object in the cargo hold. A steel crate, sealed tight. When security officers opened it, they stepped back in horror. Inside was a human skull. Its eyes glowed red. Its jaw was missing. And inside the forehead someone had carved words in deep dark letters. This was the last scream. Next there will be silence. Under the skull a countdown began. 10 o'clock. 9:59. 9:58. The entire city evacuated in panic. 10 minutes later, the ship exploded. No fire, no smoke. Just a silent shockwave, like a warning. The council held another meeting this time. No one laughed. Zivarak slammed his claws on the table. This is terrorism. Earth must be punished. Charon, now pale and shaking, said nothing. Then a new message appeared on their council screens. No one had authorized it. It simply forced itself onto every screen, every device, every station. It showed a human face, blurred, half in shadow. The voice was calm, cold. This is not revenge. This is correction. You hurt what was peaceful. You tested our silence. We are done waiting. The voice paused. Project Hades is awake. Then darkness. Back on Earth, deep under the crust, in a hidden bunker. A black door opened. Behind it stood 12 figures. Not soldiers. Shadows. Men and women taken from history. From wars Earth never spoke about. From files marked erased. Had no names, no records, only missions. The one leading them stepped forward. His voice was quiet, almost too soft to hear. Target list confirmed, a voice from the control room answered. Vega attackers, war planners, council leaders, anyone who laughed. The leader gave a small nod. Understood, and the silence is over. In a dark corner of the galaxy, Zivarak slept in his hive chamber. Guards at every entrance, thick doors, lasers, drones. He was safe, or so he thought, until he woke up to the sound of dripping. Not water, something thicker, something warm. He looked up. His guards were hanging from the ceiling. Silent, lifeless, eyes open. On the floor, written in blood, were human words. Peace is a gift. You threw it away. Zivarak tried to scream, but a hand wrapped around his throat before he could. The screen went dark. Back on Earth, media networks were quiet. No one spoke publicly. No press conferences. The humans said nothing. And the galaxy finally realized they were no longer dealing with diplomats. They were dealing with something else. Something older. Something darker. Something patient. Until now, in the outer colonies, whispers spread. Alien traders told stories of human ships that moved with no engine noise, squads that left no footprints, of entire outposts going dark without a sound. One alien miner said he saw a human standing in fire, untouched, just watching. Another claimed a human child walked into a command center, stared at the general, and walked out. Hours later, the general was found dead with no wounds. The stories were dismissed by many, but deep down, everyone knew. Earth was sending a message. Back in the council, panic spread like fire. Charon locked himself in a bunker. His advisors begged for help. No one came. Then at exactly 3 o'clock Earth Standard Time, the power failed. In complete darkness, one screen lit up. A message. You were warned. In the human war room, hundreds of screens tracked thousands of enemy targets, but no bombs were launched, no armies deployed, just whispers, just shadows. Earth had learned long ago, the most powerful weapon is fear, not destruction, not noise, but silence. And as the stars turned cold and quiet, One thing became clear to the galaxy. Earth was not weak. It was waiting, and now Earth's patience had ended. It started with a whisper, then a light, then a scream. On the quiet moon of Throsnine, a group of alien engineers were working inside a communications tower. It was supposed to be safe, peaceful. At 2:12 local time, the lights flickered. A strange humming began low and deep, like something breathing under the floor. They checked their scanners. No enemies. No ships in orbit. Then the beacon turned red, not blinking, glowing. One engineer reached toward it. The lights exploded. So did the screams. Hours later, the rescue team arrived, but there was no one left. No bodies. No blood. Only black ash, scattered like snow. And a message carved into the steel walls was something sharp. You were warned. Back at the Galactic Council, fear spread like infection, one by one. Outposts were going silent. Power grids failed without warning. Leaders disappeared, no signs of struggle. It's just gone. A few returned, but they were not the same. Silent eyes hollow. Minds broken. They spoke only one sentence. They've returned. The Council's military arm, the Galactic Enforcement Fleet, called an emergency strike meeting. They planned to retaliate, to threaten Earth, to scare them back into peace. The Admiral leading the meeting, a large reptilian being named Vorduk, slammed his claw on the table. They use fear, we use fire. Burn one of their colonies and they'll crawl back to us. Everyone nodded, except one. An old insectoid commander stood slowly and whispered, "Have you ever seen a real human war?" Not the diplomats, not the soldiers on news screens, but the real ones. The ones they keep underground? No one answered, because none of them had, and that was the problem. 12 hours later, the strike fleet was launched. Massive warships. Over 10,000 soldiers. Firepower enough to wipe out a planet. Their target, New Athens, one of Earth's border colonies. It was mostly civilians. Scientists, farmers, children, easy target. Or so they thought. As the fleet approached the planet, something strange happened. Their long-range scanners began to fail. Then their navigation systems. Then their cameras, blind, deaf, alone, still. Admiral Vordok gave the order. Launched the first wave. Missiles were fired. They never landed. They simply disappeared. Not exploded, not blocked, just gone. Like they never existed. Back on the command ship, alarms began to scream. Unknown signal detected. Internal breach in engine room. Hull damage. No external impact detected. Vordok ran to the window. What he saw made his blood freeze. The stars were gone. The entire fleet was surrounded by nothing. No ships, no engines. Just black shapes moving in the dark. They had no heat. No sound. Just glowing red eyes, flickering like coals in the dark. One by one, the fleet lights began to die. No blasts. No gunfire, just silence. One ship managed to escape. Damaged, bleeding oxygen, floating inside. A wounded alien officer crawled to a console and sent a message. His voice cracked, eyes wide with fear. It wasn't war, it wasn't battle. It was a message, a warning. We didn't fight, we just disappeared. Then the feed cut off. Earth never replied, not with words, not with threats, not even with pride. They simply remained silent. But the galaxy was now listening. In hidden corners of the stars, smaller species began to whisper. Earth was patient. We were lucky. Some started removing humans from their blacklists. Others quietly sent messages of peace to Earth, hoping for mercy. But it was too late for mercy. Project Hades had already begun. Back on Earth, deep inside the silent dome, the human command center glowed with quiet blue lights. Thousands of screens showed real-time footage, alien cities, council headquarters, fleet movements. But none of them showed Earth, because Earth has gone completely dark, invisible, offline, off-grid. No one knew where the real humans were, not even Earth's allies, and that was part of the plan. In one dark room, a woman stood in front of a large display. Her name was Commander Ray Vallon, leader of Project Hades. A voice behind her spoke. Council will come begging soon. Ray didn't look away. They already are, but the time for talking is gone. She pointed to a screen. It showed the face of a council diplomat. His eyes were swollen, bruised. Behind him, his city burned. His voice was barely a whisper. Please, we didn't know, didn't understand. We're sorry. Commander Ray turned off the screen. Let them feel what we felt, not rage. Not revenge, just silence. In a remote sector, an alien colony known for mocking humans received a gift. A small black box. They opened it. Inside was a recording, a child's voice, laughing, telling a bedtime story. Then, in the background, the sound of bombs falling. Then screaming. Then the child goes quiet. Then a whisper. We asked for peace. You gave us fire. The box exploded. Not with flame, but with sound. Loud, violent, endless screams that lasted 7 hours. The entire colony went deaf. 1 week later, the Council tried to gather Earth's allies for support, but none came. Even Earth's enemies were silent, because they had seen what happened to those who weren't. Earth wasn't fighting a war, it was teaching a lesson, one that would never be forgotten. In the cold dark of space, a scavenger ship found a drifting object. It was a suit of human armor, empty, floating, written across the chest plate in burning letters. We are not your fear. We are your mirror. And deep in the stars, far away from Earth, the Council held one final vote. Do they continue the war, or surrender quietly in shame? The vote was split. Right before the decision was made, all the lights went out. A human voice echoed through the chamber. We're already inside.